Sabha Naqvi, senior journalist, is with us, as so is Dr.Subramanian Swamy, Member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha. Sabha Naqvi, important point of inflection. The Prime Minister, about 10 days ago, promising to win the Sabka Vishwas of Muslims. Today, would you agree that he's gone to a great extent to assuage those individuals who accuse him of excluding Muslims?
So Rahul, I'm not an expert on the schemes, and I have not. The information has just come to me through your channel. But however, I have written about this in the Times of India, that everybody has to take the Prime Minister at his word at one point, and there is no choice but to take the Prime Minister at his word and hope that he means it, that he reaches out to people who are frankly falling more and more out of the system. In my personal view, I have always believed that this is one of the failures of the so-called secular parties in the past, that include Muslims in existing schemes. You don't have to have special focus on them. If the BJP does not believe in pseudo-secularism, follow up which schemes which are already available, where are Muslims also getting it in the areas. I think that would be very, I would like that. That would mean more to me. This idea of madrasa modernization it's not a new thing. It's gone on for years, and what ends up happening is it meets resistance from the madrasas, which many of them are completely disorganized, and they are like orphanages for very poor children. And the teachers are not even equipped to do anything beyond teaching students the Quran and some very, very basic things. Some of them try. And then the whole issue of are you going to interfere with our curriculum gets in there. That is the past. I'm just giving you, I have not taken a view on it. Every government has tried this.
You seem to suggest that Muslims have no choice. Rather skeptical you have been once again, Sabha Naqvi. You're saying that, no choice, hope he means what he is saying. I just want to ask you this. Has Modi proven today that giving tickets is not the only way to empower Muslims? I mean, there are individuals like you who point to the cabinet and say only one Muslim has got a berth there. Then they say 0 Muslims are given tickets from states like Uttar Pradesh, this, that, the other. So there is never any representation. Now he's making an effort.
Rahul. That matters.
That matters.
That matters.
So symbolism matters.
In an electoral democracy, they provide, they cater to those who enable their victories. We do know that Muslims have not voted mostly for the BJP. We know that, right?
No, but
all
why?
The data suggests that.
But why?
So now
you need to ask why.
We asked why.
No, Gujarati Muslims are better off than Bengali Muslims. No, Gujarati Muslims are better off than Bengali Muslims, but they haven't really found representation in the cabinet in Gujarat, even under Mr. Modi or beyond.
Rahul, everybody is better off.
You see, but the reason is because there the pernicious culture. No, let me tell you, because there the Congress's pernicious divide and rule culture was voted out a long time back. Even Muslims there began to see through the Congress's tactics to use ghettoized Muslims. Let's be honest. I want to bring in Dr. Swamy on this point.
First of all,
look, we'll talk about...
Muslims are the most ghettoized in Gujarat. If I want to buy a property in parts of Ahmedabad, I can't. Muslims are the most ghettoized.
Sabha Naqvi, please. Now you say the same about... No, you'll say the same about Mumbai, you say the same about Pune, you say the same about Delhi. Look, I mean, these are all generalizations, and we can keep living in generalizations and accentuating Muslim victimhood, etc. But let me bring in Dr. Swamy on this point. Dr. Swamy, you heard Sabha Naqvi.
I am not a proponent of victim stories.
Well, ma'am, I don't know, but if you keep invoking this sort of sense of alienation, there is a subliminal alienation in the Muslim community, they don't get homes, they are sort of ghettoized in Gujarat, even though they seem to be doing better, so they must be trading with somebody. If they were so ghettoized, they're pretty much cut off from everything. But nonetheless, I'll take this across to Dr. Swamy. Dr. Swamy, what do you make of this?
Can I reply?
This skepticism that exists continually and is thrown at the face of the Modi government.
Well, you see, the fact of the matter is, as far as we are concerned, the BJP, we have the Hindutva movement has become so strong that we really can win an election without minority support. So therefore, now the Prime Minister is now going for an outreach in that part of the appeal, which is not got to do with saying I'll keep you secure and so on. Because anyway, during these 5 years, there hasn't been a single major communal riot. And the Muslims are much more secure in social terms than ever before, except these crazy incidents that take place here and there, but that's all isolated incidents. Therefore, we now think that education, women empowerment, these are secular questions, and they should also be extended to the Muslim community rather than relying on the mullahs. The Congress had lost all the opportunity to do that when in the Shah Banu case they surrendered to the hardliners. When large number of Muslims came out on the streets to protest the attempt of the government to bring about a... So we also know that the Muslims have the same DNA as Hindus, which means we both come from this soil. Our ancestors are the same. And so what is the only difference is the way you pray, and that's too minor for a Hindu to be bothered about. And we are not against Muslims. We wanted to integrate the Hindus, and we have now largely succeeded, and we are moving forward on that. But we also want the Muslims not to be in the state of poverty and ignorance, which the hardliners want them, keep them, women in a kind of almost like a prison that she could be divorced at any time. So the triple talaq has evoked such strong responses that this time we have won in UP, in those areas where Muslims are a very sizable population. So I think this is mutual. The Muslims have also extended their hand, and we are ready to extend them an even bigger hand.
Okay,
and this is a program which is not new to Modi. Modi, in fact, on two...
That's very...
No, Sabha Naqvi, let me ask you this question. As a Muslim woman, do you welcome the stress that is being put on... One second, abolishing triple talaq. Do you support the bill in sum and substance, or at least in spirit? Do you believe that it's a way forward? It empowers Muslim women. Do you believe what the Congress did with Shah Banu in that particular case was a step backwards? Would you agree?
Absolutely, Rahul. I believe that the Congress, Rajiv Gandhi was the disaster. His reign was the most disastrous reign. I've written about this quite recently.
So then I want to ask you this.
The whole Shah Banu judgment, opening up I have no issues
so
about
why
that.
didn't the Congress ever think about the triple talaq bill, scrapping it, empowering Muslim women? No, I'm asking you then why didn't... I
don't agree about the criminalization.
No, that's fine. We can differ on the letter,
I don't agree about
but the spirit is what we are talking about.
I have no issues. I welcome it.
So no issues, right?
Rahul, why are you quibbling with me?
I'm not quibbling. I'm only asking you a bigger, larger question.
I believe Indian Muslims, I believe Indian Muslims should get out of the phenomena of fear and participate in whatever they can.
So I'm glad. Now tell me,
what I would like
for
to see
70 years the Congress had this opportunity
and state governments.
They didn't. Yet we talk about how Muslims are insecure, ghettoized, marginalized under the Modi government. 5 years of Modi rule. He's trying to mainstream them, bring them out, empower women, skill them, and yet this sort of constant badgering takes place of the RSS and the BJP. It's like almost as if there's a cottage industry that is being created out of the propaganda of fear-mongering.
No, you have to read. It's not a cottage industry, Rahul. Anyway, I think you're trivializing certain concerns. However, you're not allowing me to say, I believe people should go out and get all the documents ready and participate in every possible scheme that they can get from the government. That is the way of keeping their authentic citizenship alive. And I agree with you, secular parties have kept Muslims in a ghetto, and Muslims and the clerics have kept Muslims in a ghetto. Nobody is arguing on these basic tenets over here. You know, but such a
so let me just ask you the blunt and straightforward question.
Very creative. Muslims are
fair enough. They've been used, they've been treated like a vote bank. So would you today concede that those who have been spreading fear that Muslims will be worse off under the Modi regime, that this is some sort of black scourge, this second term for Modi for minorities, were they all fear-mongering, would you say, after this? After today?
Rahul, I think there are genuine concerns. There are genuine concerns that we are in a situation where there is such diminishing Muslim representation.
So representation is more important.
It is what has happened. Dr. Swamy is absolutely right. Dr. Swamy is absolutely right that the BJP has shown India that it can win without Muslim votes. That is indeed the new situation right now. It was there in 2014, it's been reinforced. That was not that has been, he's right about all of that. So we are actually in agreement, and we also ironically seem to be wearing the same colored kurtas on the show. But anyway,
one second. Representation is more important.
Now what do you do with such a
representation is essential, even though it is optical. That's all. It's only optics. Just like the two kurtas that you're wearing of the same color, which is absolutely an optical illusion. I mean, yeah, it's fine, it's you, but you don't share the same views. Let me tell you, your kurtas might be the same color. So, Dr. Swamy, let me bring you up on that point. You see, it's very important. It's very, very important to have representation for Muslims. Until you don't give them representations, tickets, berths, ministerships, make them, visible as empowered individuals in the larger power structures, till then you haven't succeeded.
Well, you see, this problem is there with women also, whether there should be reservation for women's representation for women and all. I think we should empower them to fight for a place. And we have Muslims. We have a Muslim minister, about two or three of them. And therefore, I think rather than think of promoting them, because we have many other denied castes, the scheduled castes have still not been fully represented. Many of the Vanavasis, as we call them, and Adivasis, as others call them, they haven't got a proper representation. India is full of lack of proper representation. So I think Muslims will have to face the fact that they were a ruling class for 600 years and suddenly they have become backward. I can understand tribals and scheduled castes and so on complaining that they've been put down upon, but nobody put down the Muslims, and they were ruling classes, and still now today they are poor, they require special help from the government. I think I would be against making any effort to see that the representation is fair. If Sabha Naqvi applies next time for a ticket, I'll give her a strong recommendation and she can fight from BJP.
Dr. Swamy, you are way too wise. Dr. Swamy, you are way too deeply intelligent to come out with this facile thing that somebody was a ruling class, so why are people poor? I mean, there were ruling classes, there were Hindu kings and Muslim kings and tribal kings and all over India, and you know that. I mean, you're a learned professor. So anyway, I'm not even going to take that very much, that what is a ruling class. If you're talking about some notion of history, I mean, there is poverty everywhere. And yes, there is a particular issue with Muslim community group. I have one, and I'm throwing this out there. I want to know one thing, and I would ask Dr. Swamy this. Since the BJP has always had a problem with the idea of pseudo-secularism, why not take special efforts to include Muslims in the schemes that are already there? Be it schools, be it Ayushman Bharat. There are some wonderful schemes which are already there.
But those schemes, Sabha Naqvi, are for all Indians. In fact, there's even a 10% quota that opens possibilities out to all Indians. So why are you saying that the scheme? No. Are you suggesting that the government was out there saying that I won't build a home for a Muslim and that we won't give gas cylinders to Muslim women?
I think the most inclusive thing is to include people in what is.
So minorities are not given. Minorities are given tickets by the BJP. There are Christian ministers. There are Christian MLAs who are given tickets. Minorities were also, ma'am, if you are talking very purely about power structures, well, Dalits were a minority in our power structures. They are given tickets. So were OBCs for the longest possible time. A minority in our power structures. They were given tickets, and in fact, your Prime Minister himself is from an Ati Pichda Jati. So let's not today trivialize this debate by suggesting that,
so the reason,
let's pin the identity of people constantly on their collar.
The elephant in the room, Rahul.
No, there is no elephant in the room. There is no elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room is this. Let me just say this. No, there is an elephant. We haven't talked about it. We've talked about schemes.
Okay, so everything comes down to symbolism. If the symbolism is okay,
which is based on hating
okay, let me bring in Dr. Swamy. It is important symbolically to the Muslim community that tickets must be given to them.
I'm talking about hate crimes.
Dr. Swamy.
Now, let me ask Savanaik Naqvi. Is it not a fact that when we try to include Muslims in the yoga, immediately all the mullahs went on strike saying, no, Surya Namaskar is Hinduism, we can't allow it. I didn't see Savana Naqvi protesting against that. She was silent. That's the problem. The educated Muslims do not take a stand against the mullahs on most matters.
I'm actually a practitioner of yoga, sir.
Okay, well,
I'm actually a practitioner of yoga, a very proud practitioner.
Well, you should have come out and spoken.
Personally, I'm not a mullah. I'm a citizen of India. I am a practitioner of yoga. I have spent time in the Munger ashram. It's diligently been part of my life for 12 years. So in my case, you're talking to one of those
people who have benefited
so
from the emphasis that Mr. Modi's also been putting on yoga. So you're a Muslim who's also benefited from that. You should be happy. Anyhow, let's just quickly move on. We'll continually.
Modi. You see, I was doing yoga before Mr. Modi.
Okay. Sabha Naqvi, you see, he's not stopped you, he's not excluded you from yoga. He's only wanted to include you.
Yoga was not invented by Mr. Modi.
Yeah, but you will continue to posture. You will continue to posture to play to a gallery. Anyhow,
this is too much.
Look, you're continually going to posture. It doesn't matter.
It's not across the world. People do yoga.
Okay, fair enough. Bridge course for minority community school dropouts. Madrasa teachers to be given training in mainstream subjects. 5 crore scholarships announced for Muslims, including 50% girl students. A big step has been taken by the Modi government. Now, we can keep debating whether it's enough, whether actually it's an eyewash, whether it will make a material difference or not. That debate will continue. Thank you very much for participating in this, Sabha Naqvi and Dr. Swamy. I want